how many women have you slept with in your life total?
Thousands. Like I said, I was having sex with 3 girls a day on average, at least at a minimum. I mean, some days 4, sometimes, whatever, 5, 7. The most was 9.
Wow.
But I don't know. It was just, it didn't really seem to matter that much.
Yeah.
I was sex with 9 girls. I don't know. Like I had this image in my mind when I was growing up of like how awesome this would be. I don't know. What I kind of landed on was I think it's like better to have a monogamous relationship. Strange as that is coming from me. You got 2 choices. You can just like do whatever you want and, be free and like allow the women to be free and just use condoms with all the girls and not care about if they hook up with other guys and it's just like purely sexual and whatever. Or I think you can find a girl that you enjoy spending time with and that you actually trust each other.
This free game, the Mac Persona, coming from a highly respected, high value, I would say, a man who's decorated and who has lived up to his potential, Dan Bilzerian. On the imagery, he's successful, rich, and wealthy. With all the resources and power, it would need to have multiple females orbiting him. And he explains it in a much detailed conversation. And he explains it. I mean, he just couldn't he just couldn't do it anymore. The man had everything and every baddie that he could ever fantasize about, 7 of them, but it still wasn't enough for him to really emotionally invest in it. It didn't matter to him. That's what he says. And when something doesn't matter to a man specifically, he can't fight for it. He can't honor it. He can't trust it. He can't vouch for it because it's nothing but a toy to him. These women that were orbiting around him were nothing but toys to him, and he had felt no emotional connection, which is what the human being side of us strives to engage with for this life to be meaningful to us. And then he says monogamous relationships are something that should be treated as a privilege, because it's something that you can do to connect with one person with. One person with. To be that said, men have this fantasy of having multiple women at the same time. And yes, the kings and the emperors and the great royals came up to having this establishment. But the Europeans cultivated this sort of routine of relationships and made slavery out of it, where they raped and torched and killed the black families in front of their missus and their mister, And so that heritage and culture of having multiple females around you was destroyed by white people. But when taken into a deeper sense of spirituality and love and connection with the right person, you get foundations, you get family, you get community, you get a certain level of love that a lot of households who are in the normal family structure of being with their wife and having 2 kids do not have, But this is debatable, of course. But having come from the mouth of Dan Bilzerian, a man who has lived this lifestyle, he has explained it himself that it was meaningless. It was something that he himself could not afford to give any much more energy to, because his energy was just being sucked around left, right, and center. Because women are chaotic; they're like the moon. And so he's got these seven shawties, and he's gotta constantly rotate them at the same time, and having to worry about them having to get along, because women really do not get along just by nature. They pretend as if they do, but they don't, because they secretly hate one another. He was tired from this, tired of having to juggle everything, tired to having to keep this persona that he had always fantasized about, this reality that he had always fantasized about. But then he realized that it was nothing more than a fantasy and not reality. It was nothing more than an illusion, nothing more than a dream itself, orchestrating and castrating into another dream. And a man with money, looks, status, can get any woman. Yes, but not the right woman. Not the woman to build a path with, not the woman to build a family with. You're only gonna get a gold digger, a hoe, or an acculturated prostitute who are modern day women who say they want steady relationships but really just wanna guy attention that they do not have to emotionally invest in, which is unhealthy from a female's relationships, from a female's mindset in general. But it's a lie. Looks, money, and status is a lie. And Dan has manifested that by explaining his story. And there's nothing more you can, particularly say about this other than the fact that he's trying to honor what he had gone through. And I don't know. Let me know what you think. Do you think having multiple women is in your journey, or having one woman is in your journey? Choice is yours. Free game.